The tellers agree in their tallies that the total number of votes cast is 434, of which the Honorable Mike Johnson of the state of Louisiana has received 218.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Ladies of Liberty podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Lisa, and this is my co-host, Jay. And today we are going to talk about the 119th Congress. Jay, did you watch the voting on the floor yesterday?
I didn't. I just read about it, but I knew he would be elected, unfortunately.
You and I have differing opinions on Mike Johnson. I knew he was going to get elected. I don't necessarily know if I think a lot of people were hoping he wasn't going to get reelected. But I watched the voting on the House floor, and it was a little bit of a dramatic vote. I mean, it was not the McCarthy ousting that we saw last year, but it was a little bit of a dramatic vote. Normally, the caucuses, they vote early, go out, have a united front. It's not dramatic at all. But we had a few naysayers. We had about 3 congressmen, 4 actually, that either voted for someone else or abstained to vote at all. So Mike Johnson has not come into the speakership with a complete and 100% support from the Republican caucus. But I know that you have a lot of thoughts on Mike Johnson, so I will let you take it away on your thoughts and feelings on Mike.
I definitely don't want Mike Johnson in the speakership. And this is why, as y'all can see, Liberty Score has given him a C at 74%. And I know it's not an D or an F.
Could
However,
you explain what Liberty Score is? Because I don't know if I'm super familiar with it.
Oh, absolutely. So it says up there, it's a conservative review, and
Uh-huh.
they keep track of the congressmen and how they score conservatively. So it's not just Republicans, it's Democrats as well. I mean, I think that Maxine Waters has like a negative F because she always votes very liberally. The conservatives' Liberty Score is constantly keeping track. However, they are missing one on Matt Johnson of how your representatives have voted. If you want to know if you got a real rhino in your state, go to Liberty Score. They will tell you.
Okay.
And their values line up pretty much with my values. I'm a conservative. So as you can see, he has voted 25%, 0.5 liberally, and then 74% conservatively. I think it's a bit more. They have not included was it the CR bill that he voted for in December? I believe that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with all the pork in it. So they haven't added that yet. I don't know why. Come on, guys, get on the ball. So let's look at this. March 24, 2023. They haven't put anything for 2024. That's really odd. End federal control of local schools. CR position, yes. He voted no. Okay. As we go down, as we look down, let's go to July of 2022. So he passed an $817 billion defense spending bill without defunding military vaccine mandates. My husband was subject to that. Thank the Lord he didn't have to get it, but it was a terrible time for us. We were really sweating because he had already had the Fauci flu and he already had antibodies and he pushed back. That's another episode, but I was really ticked off that he did that. Let's go to 2 down below. Go to page 2.
Yeah.
All right. March 9th, 2022. pass the $1.5 trillion omnibus funding Biden's vaccine mandates? He said yes. That's huge. It's just one more. All right. I could be here all day. September 2023, 2021, signing up women for the draft in the National Defense Authorization Act. He voted yes.
Wow, I'm actually
Liberty
kind of
counts.
interested. I'm interested to see his reasoning for that.
I don't know, but Liberty Score said no way. And he said yes. So this is
Interesting.
just several instances that
Repeal authorization for use of military force against Iraq.
Yeah, and
Oh,
if you
he
go
voted
down, you
against
can see
that.
that.
Yeah.
So if everybody wants to see how they have your representative have voted, go to Liberty Score if you're a true conservative, and it's easy. They've got a big, beautiful map. Just find your state. Hopefully, you're good with geography. You know where you are. Just click on your state, and you'll see your representatives to see how they voted. So I keep my eye on this, and that's why I don't want him in the speakership, and other people did not as well. And I know that we have to negotiate, but I just want to burn it all down and start over. So I am a no for Mike Johnson.
Well, it looks though as if he's gotten more conservative in the last couple of years, because his earlier record seems to be where he differentiates a lot.
That is correct. However, and like I said, it doesn't have anything for 2024. The House Republicans were really mad at Johnson in December of 2024 for handling of the CR. And the Hill says a total dumpster fire.
Right.
That's what the Republicans have called it. So what's going on? Do they have dirt on him? Is he just spineless?
I don't think they have dirt on him. I think that I think the reason why he is speaker is because he is more of a moderate. Because you have to understand that on the Hill, he's not going. You cannot have a MAGA Republican as Speaker of the House, because there isn't enough MAGA Republicans to form a coalition in the caucus to get someone like that elected as the Speaker. Okay, there's still too many swamp creatures in the Republican Party that are opposed to Trump's agenda. Okay, and so, or not even necessarily Trump's agenda, because I think Trump has taken more of a central position on certain things, especially as we're seeing with visas now. But those strong MAGA Republicans, those more on the right, they're not gonna get the votes that they need from the centrist Republicans in the House.
It's interesting that you say those swamp creatures. I believe he is a swamp creature, and he went on, I believe it was Fox, and he was speaking right after he won the speakership, or close to, and said, we have to really drain the swamp. I'm like, dude, you are the swamp. Like, you're in your ghillie suit, okay?
Well, here's my thing. I like Johnson over McCarthy because McCarthy was someone that worked in opposition to Trump.
Agreed.
I think that Mike Johnson, he might have personally voted one way or another. I think he was trying. I think with the CR, he felt backed into a corner because we don't have the majority in the Senate, and Biden is still the president, and he has to fight this kind of fight with three of your legs cut off. Essentially, he doesn't have any support in the other branches of government. So I think that there was some issues there. I think if anything you can criticize Mike Johnson on is his lack of preparedness and understanding of the job. And for me, that's kind of what the CR proved. He does not understand what his role as Speaker of the House is. And I don't think he has his footing yet on how hard he can push and who the major players are. I think you have to remember how he got elected.
It's a good assessment. Yeah, you're right about that with McCarthy. McCarthy was an actual swamp creature. You're right, and probably living in the bogs. And he is a step up, but yeah, that is a good assessment.
But remember how Mike Johnson got elected? He wasn't elected because everybody wanted him. He was the last man standing in a very riotous, contentious caucus vote. Okay, like it was like they wanted Mike Johnson, Byron Donalds. They were going through all kinds of people, and Mike Johnson basically got up and said, "Hey, like you aren't going to take this side. You're not going to take this side. I'm in the middle. I'll step into the position. Take me." He's the guy that didn't make waves in Congress. Okay. So people were like, okay, well, at least you're not a hard ass. All right. You're not somebody like a Matt Gaetz that's a firebrand and just wants to torch the whole place and burn it down. But you are someone who has a good reputation with members on both sides of the aisle. And he was just kind of a mild mannered guy in Congress that stepped up to the plate, I think, when a lot of people were running away from it, because being Speaker of the House is not a job that a lot of people want to have. You have a lot of responsibility. Not only do you have to run the House, you have to run security for the House, you have to also support your party. Usually the reason why people are elected Speaker and Majority Leader or Minority Leader is because they can raise money for the party. Okay. And so now he's got to do all that. And so I think from what I can see and what I have watched, when during the election, he went, okay, my role is to get members elected for the House. And that's what he did. He went on and did rally after rally. He was traveling for like weeks at a time, trying to get fundraising for members of Congress, trying to get their campaigns off the ground, making sure that the endorsements were where they were supposed to be. He was traveling all over the country, and he completely neglected the fact that in December, in January, in December, they're going to have to vote on a continuing resolution. And so by the time he got back to Washington, D.C., I think he was ill prepared, and the Democrats took advantage of him. They took advantage of the fact that he wasn't working on a continuing resolution with members in his own party, but the Democrats were, and they knew exactly what they wanted to put in there. And they knew that with a slim majority that the Republicans had, Mike Johnson would be backed into a corner, and he took the bait from Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats on the left. Okay, because the Republicans do not have a political apparatus like the Democrats do. They have a huge grassroots network. They have a DNC that has been working like clockwork. Okay.
And they all work together.
And Kamala Harris aside, that was a horrible campaign if I've ever seen a horribly run campaign. But the Democratic machine knew what was up. They knew where to defend. They lost certain seats. They picked up certain seats like they knew they were going to. But it was clear to me that Johnson had his focus in the election, not in the business of government. And when he got back to the Hill, it was like, oh crap, I don't have a plan. I don't know what I'm doing here. And he was strong-armed by Hakeem Jeffries and probably some of the more swamp creatures on the right that know you have to do this. You have to push this because we don't have time. People aren't going to get paid. These hurricane victims need relief. He was very focused on the farmers' resolution. And the Democrats were like, well, we're not going to vote for anything because you have to get us to help you pass this thing. And
So
I think
he was just ill-prepared.
I think he was ill-prepared.
And you said he's mild-mannered, which I don't want a mild-mannered guy up there. I do want to burn it down.
However, I will say what gives me hope for Mike Johnson and what I am excited to see happen. There were 3 members of Congress that voted against Mike Johnson. Ralph Norman, I can't remember the third guy, and Tom Massey. Okay. And then Chip Roy abstained from voting, which is fine, whatever. but all it took was a phone call to Norman and the second congressman from Trump, and they went up and changed their votes, and we didn't have to go through another round of voting. Okay.
I guess Trump is just like, well, this is our guy. We're gonna work with him,
Right. And
and
it's
we don't
pretty
have to go
obvious.
through what we did last year.
Right. And it's pretty obvious to me that Mike Johnson, Trump's keeping a very close eye on Mike Johnson.
You need to keep
Okay.
both eyes on him.
Yes, I think that Trump is the one that's calling the shots when it comes to the speakership. And evidence for me is the CR bill. He put out that 1,500 page. All it took was one phone call from Trump, one X tweet from Elon Musk, and the whole thing got rescinded, and a much shorter, albeit not much better, okay, because it wasn't that much better, CR package went forward. And hopefully by March, Johnson will have met with the committees and the Republicans will have a clear path forward when it comes to the budget.
I think I think March is too early. Probably April, May,
Well,
possibly.
the CR I think only goes until March.
Okay.
So they have to come
Because
together
that would
and do
be
another budget.
soon. That would be
Yeah.
pretty soon. He's a mild-mannered guy, and I just don't like that. I want him to be strong. And the Democrats, they smell blood in the water. They know when people are weak, they could smell weakness. And I do think he's a weak man.
I don't think he's a weak man. I say
Look
give
at his
it some
voting
time.
record.
Give it some time. I think he might come out and surprise a lot of people.
My assessment is, I mean, I see that C, but my assessment is, oh yeah, I have to work with Biden or Obama or whoever's putting their hand up Biden's back. It was he would come out, oh, I had a great meeting with Biden. Yeah, sure you did. He was probably asleep.
Well, like I
But he
said,
wants to
now
work.
it's
Now he's going to work with Trump, right? So I think he kind of molds to whatever he has to do, or he just goes along to get along. That's what my feeling is.
we're going to have to see, but he'll have a Republican majority in the Senate, and then you'll have Trump as president, and it's a whole new ball game from there. But I know that you wanted to talk about the rules that they have implemented.
The
So
new
let's
House
go,
rules.
yeah. So
right.
let's go through those. I'm going to bring those up here too. So
Yeah, so these, for the audience, these are the new House rules of the 119th Congress.
So obviously they're going to open up with the adoption of the rules, but there's one really big change. And I think that's the resolution causing a vacancy in office of speaker. That's kind of getting a lot of buzz here.
Yeah, before it was just one, right? Matt Gaetz is like, done with this guy. I'm done with McCarthy.
Mhm.
But in this change, you have to have 9 members of the majority party.
Right. So that would be 9 members of the Republican Party would have to come forward.
That's right.
And
Minimum 9.
Minimum. And Matt Gaetz, I think he only had 6 people
I
that
don't
came
remember how many
forward
he
with
had.
him.
Okay.
I think it was like 6 or 7.
Now what do you think about that?
I think it's a good idea.
So they're not wasting time. So one person doesn't throw a spoke in the wheel.
You want to get rid of Mike Johnson, you need 8 other people to do it, and you really have to practice politics. You can't just throw the House into chaos like Matt Gaetz did. You need to come up with a formulated plan.
You need a plan.
And I think that having that rule in place is much better than just anyone for any reason at any time can cause a vacancy in the speakership. What was the other thing that came out for you that was more like, whoa?
So we scroll down here a bit.
Oh, I think I know what you want to talk about. I think I can already see it. Just start with the striking
office of Diversity and Inclusion, DEI, subsection, conforms the rules to reflect the reorganization of the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. I thought they were going to get rid of it. From what I read, they were going to completely abolish it.
I think that's what it says.
It says conforms the rules to reflect the reorganization.
But it also says striking Office of Diversity and
I hope
Inclusion.
so. I'm
So
just looking at
basically, I
the
think what
fine
it means,
print.
well, I think what that means is that it's now changing the rules here to reflect that that office is gone.
I hope so, because that's taxpayer money that can go somewhere else. That is
Mhm.
important. But I mean, I would love to be a fly on the wall. What do they talk about? Like, oh no, that person's not dark enough. We can't hire that person.
I really don't know because Congress. So I've tried to get a job working on the Hill, and you go in and you apply to like House vacancy positions. And that's all done online. Like you don't even see who's applying for those positions, right? And when it comes to electing officers to Congress, they are elected by the people. So the diversity and inclusion is supposed to be integrated with the electorate on who they are electing. So I don't understand where you would have to force diversity and inclusion in Congress when it's not Congress that is appointing people to the seat of Congress. It's the actual people appointing those people.
Well, it's the quotas. They look. That's why you have to check the box to be
That's what I mean.
female
What are you filling quotas for?
for the DEI. You have to be inclusive, every
For
diversity.
what? How? How in the world in Congress are you supposed to do that?
They've been doing it. Look who's on the Supreme Court. Oh,
Okay, but
Jackson,
that's
who can't
not okay,
even.
but that's not Congress that does that. That's the Senate that does that. The House doesn't do that. These are the House rules.
They are pushing it in every single bit of our lives. They're pushing in every single nook and cranny. They're doing it. I don't know how they're doing it, but they are doing it. And you just have to check the box. Like, oh no, that person is a male and he's white. Nope. Let's go with the person who gave who received a D- on this test. I'm just
Mhm.
saying that's what they're doing. That's all they care about. All they care about is your genitals and your skin color. That's it.
All
So
right.
hopefully that's going to be gone. Let's go down to section 3, separate
Mhm.
orders.
Yeah.
Let's go to the Holman rule, subsection A.
Yeah.
Continues
Explain what this is because
the
I don't
Holman
know.
rule from the 118th Congress. That was just the prior Congress, which allows amendments to appropriations legislation that would reduce the salary of specific federal employees or cut a specific program. Yes. What specific programs or what specific federal employees? I don't know, but I'm very curious to find out. Anywhere it says cut or reduce, absolutely. Didn't Marjorie
So
Taylor Greene want to reduce? Didn't she want to give
Mayorkas
Dr.
like $1.
$1, or was it Dr. Richard Levine $1?
I think it was several people.
Yes, $1. So I'm all about that. I think that's great.
Or cut a specific program. So would that mean like the Department of Education?
I'm sure there's fine print, and only the peons aren't able to see the fine print. But yeah, I know Trump wanted to cut the Department of Education.
I think that this is allowing Congress to have the ability to do that.
It's a path, right?
Right.
So I think that's very exciting. I would love
I
to
mean,
keep my eyes on this.
let us know in the comments if I'm way off base on that, but that's what the language sounds like it's saying to me.
We hope so.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll keep our eyes on this.
Subsection provides for the separate consideration of 12 bills under a closed rule with 1 hour of debate equally divided and controlled by the majority leader and the minority leader of their respective designees and one motion to recommit. So these are going to be the first orders of business, I think. So subsection B, this provides the list of bills referred to in subsection A. And the first of those bills is a bill to amend the Education Amendments of 1972 to provide that for purposes of determining compliance with Title IX of such act in athletics, sex shall be recognized based solely on a person's reproductive biology and genetics at birth. So it looks like that's going to be the first bill that they bring up in the House.
That's exciting. I'm going to throw a wrench in this. As I told you yesterday, I was
Mhm.
down at the Social Security office a couple of years ago in South
Yeah.
Carolina. And I asked a woman who was working there. I said, "Are doctors now writing males or females and females or males on the birth certificates?" She said she has seen birth certificates in South Carolina that say the sex is undetermined.
Mm.
So, what's going to happen with that?
Well, it sounds like there might have to be another amendment to that bill.
Agreed.
So that's
Yeah.
the first one, which you and I are so excited about because
I
I
am.
think that we need to protect women's sports, but I think more importantly, we need to protect women's spaces. I think it's so important as women that we have our own areas and our own sports, bathrooms, locker rooms separate from men.
So we do need to have that. However, Congress has, thank you, Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene, thank you. A man cannot go into a woman's bathroom in Congress. That's what we want. The peons. Can we have that too?
I know, right? Well, I think Nancy May said that she is going to adopt a bill or put forward a bill that makes it a federal mandate across all federal properties. But I also think she's going to go a step further with
Good.
that as well.
Good. And let's go to the next one. This is exciting.
Yeah, you read this next one because I think you have a lot to say about it.
A bill to require Secretary of Homeland Security to take into custody aliens, illegal aliens. Where is the word illegal aliens? Who have been charged in the United States with theft and for other purposes. Well, the minute they stepped on our soil illegally is against the law, right? I think now what they're looking for is people who actually commit crimes. That's who they're going
So
after.
from what I am looking at, this is layers. This is layers of the same problem. So this is the first layer. This is the
First
first
step.
step.
Yeah.
Okay. Get rid of those that we know who are here illegally as aliens, who are being held and have been charged in our legal system with a crime.
Get them out first.
Get them out first. Okay. It'll be easy to go and get them out of prisons and jails, you know, and law enforcement knows where a lot of these guys are to move them out. Because next you have a bill to amend the Immigration and Nationality Act to provide that aliens who have been convicted of or who have committed sex offenses or domestic violence are inadmissible and deported. So
This is
then you have
interesting.
another layer where now it's no, if you have been convicted of a crime, and I'm assuming that this also means if you've been convicted of a crime in your home country,
In another country.
that you cannot be here either.
You shouldn't be able to. So if you go
Right.
down to any ICE office at the border, and I have called politicians multiple times to say, go down there and have the records. They have records of illegal aliens that have sexually molested, assaulted, rape children. There are records there. There's doctor's notes. So
Yeah.
those people need to be out of here.
Out of here. Then we have a bill to make the assault. I can't believe this wasn't already a thing, but I guess it's not. A bill to make the assault of a law enforcement officer a deportable offense
How is that
and
not?
for other purposes.
How is that not in play?
Already? You know?
It's Democrats. Yeah, yeah. But I love this one, the next one.
Yeah.
A bill to provide that sanctuary jurisdictions that provide benefits to illegal aliens. Why don't they put illegal aliens in there? Who are present in the United States without lawful status under the immigration laws are ineligible for federal funds intended to benefit such aliens. California is protecting illegal aliens. They are getting money. They're getting health insurance. They're getting free transgender surgery. They're taking money away from the taxpayers in California and they're giving it to illegal aliens. But it's not just California money, because California gets federal money. So are they going to cut off all federal funds to California? I hope so.
This is going to make the Democrats' heads explode.
Mental.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this one is a bill to impose criminal and immigration penalties for intentionally fleeing a pursuing federal officer while operating a motor vehicle. I feel like some of these are just no-brainers.
Well, so is two genders. That's a no-brainer. But look what the Democrats have done. We have to actually have into place a bill 2 + 2 = 4. Okay. I mean,
Right.
so they refer back to it.
Now the next one, so it looks like they're going to be targeting immigration right up front, which is Trump's biggest thing. Okay, that's like
The
his
border.
number one initiative at the beginning in these first 100 days is to start these deportations, and it looks like Congress is backing him up on that. Then you have this, a bill to amend Title 18 United States Code to prohibit a healthcare practitioner from failing to exercise the proper degree of care in the case of a child who survives an abortion or attempted abortion. Hallelujah. Why has this not been a bill that has come about?
I think that what you said earlier, like how is this not legal? How is this able to go forward? Because look at Walls, who is running for vice president.
Mm-hmm.
He signed a bill that, oh, if you get an abortion and the baby survives, yeah, you don't have to give care. Who does that? That's pretty evil.
That
So
is
they have to,
murder.
that is murder. So they have to actually put this into place where it is a law federally. So these crazy leftist demonic governors can't say, oh no, if there's a botched abortion and the baby survives, yeah, just let it die or kill it, or you could just do whatever you want with it. No, they have a legal responsibility, medically too, to save that baby, to help that baby, to
Yeah.
give that baby care. So yay for this. I
Yay.
think it's great. Amen and hallelujah.
So this bill aims the bill to impose sanctions with respect to the International Criminal Court engaged in any effort to investigate, arrest, detain, or prosecute any protected person of the United States and its allies. So the bill aims to impose, it attempts to investigate, arrest, detain, or prosecute any protected person by the United States or its allies. The goal is to protect U.S. military personnel, officials, and allies from any potential persecution from the ICC. A bill to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to provide special rules for the taxation of certain residents of Taiwan with income from sources within the United States. Interesting. Interesting. So, how many people work in Taiwan that are making money from the United States?
I don't know.
Interesting. Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's weird. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
We
the
weren't
next
doing.
bill is really, you want to scratch your head. A bill to amend the National Voter Registration Act of 1993 to require proof of United States citizenship to register an individual to vote in elections for federal office and other purposes. I thought it was illegal for non-citizens to vote. In California, they said now it is illegal to ask for voter ID. So anybody can vote. You can come on over from China. You can be a member of ISIS in Afghanistan or Syria, and you can just come on over and vote in California because it's illegal to ask. Is that mental? Yeah.
Yeah. So this one is a bill to amend the Controlled Substances Act with respect to the scheduling of fentanyl-related substances and for other purposes.
Good. Fentanyl's killing a bunch of people. Well, that's an understatement. It's killing thousands. It has killed thousands.
The primary goal is to classify fentanyl-related substances as a Schedule 1 drug which means they are considered to have high potential for abuse and no accepted medical use.
Well, that is interesting because when people break their arms or they have to not fully go under anesthesia, they give you fentanyl in some instances, controlled.
Well, it looks like they can't do that now.
Hmm. Leave us comments. Probably y'all will know better than us.
But
Next,
then you have the bill to prohibit a mandatorium on the use of hydraulic fracturing, which we would know as fracking. So basically, it prevents the federal government from imposing a ban on fracking unless explicitly authorized by an act of Congress.
now it doesn't say on federal lands. Where is it specifically?
So it says that essentially, like I said, it essentially prevents the federal government from saying you can't do fracking.
Right. Now, is that of all the land or just
So if,
federally?
like I said,
Maybe.
unless it is explicitly authorized by an act of Congress.
Because the governors have also said, you're not doing X. You're not doing this. So if this is federally.
And I think that Trump wants to open up federal lands for fracking.
Well, I know that when he was first elected, he gave a lot of lands back to the states because Obama did a big land grab. And he said, no, 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 these go back to the states. And I think that was the right call.
Well, Jay, I am looking forward to seeing what this 119th Congress does. Hopefully they can get Trump's agenda passed.
Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you guys so much for listening or watching the Lady of Liberty podcast. We will see you in the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe and comment down below. We don't know everything, so hearing your insights would be really, really, really helpful. And we would learn so much too. So we will see you guys in the next video.